my doula finally made it probably like not even 10 minutes or 15 minutes before my daughter got there. She called my midwife. So my midwife, she was still on the phone. And so she was just coaching me. And so I'm contracting. I'm feeling the ring of fire. I'm on all fours. And so she just told me to breathe. So I did a big exhale, and my daughter just, and her dad had to hurry up and catch her.
Welcome to the Be Well podcast. Here we share real stories, have honest conversations, and offer practical wisdom to help moms prepare for pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and beyond. I'm your host, Candace Jackson, birth and postpartum doula, childbirth educator, wife, and mama to two. I'm so excited to have a dear friend of mine, Leah, here with us today. Leah, can you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and about the work that you do as a boutique owner, a doula, and then also the work that you do in the insurance sector, because you do so much. Okay,
know,
so
right?
let's get that straight first off. But yes, tell the listeners about all that you do.
Honestly, I don't even know where to begin because we could be talking for hours. But hey, y'all, I'm Leah Neely, born and raised in St. Louis, but I'm down here in the dirty South of Mississippi, you know. As far as my occupation, God blessed me to just be gifted in a lot of things. Currently, I am a boutique owner. I started my boutique right before COVID, November 2019, and in 2020, God just grew me abundantly that I wasn't even prepared for. So I just embarked on year 6. So I'm just very excited again. Already dropping gems. Any of my moms or moms to be steady wins the race. Every year is not an up year. Every year is not a down year, but if you stay consistent. So those of you who may be thinking about business wise, but flowing into my doula, I became with child in 2021. Had my daughter, had a home birth, did the midwifery. I'm not going to go full into detail because I know it's going to be questions. And because of my transition of a very difficult postpartum, I knew that once I fully got over my trial and tribulations of just regaining and reclaiming this new woman that I became, I knew I was going to become a doula. So in July of 2024, I did that. I became a doula. Now I am in the education phase. So while my doula sisters, they really boots on the ground out in the field, I decided I want to currently focus my passion in educating. So I started a Doula Talk Tuesday, where I invite other birth sisters, other doula workers, birth workers that I see that are actively making impact in the maternal health. And we talk about different motherhood topics. So right now I'm doing the education, but eventually I'm gonna be out in the field just like them. And then also lastly, I am in the insurance sector. I know we're going to touch in postpartum, but I got my PNC license. So that's another gem. Moms who may be possibly trying to work from home or just trying to get back into that 9 to 5 corporate, look into insurance because it's a lot of areas of growth and opportunity and great work-life balance. And then overall, I do a little bit of everything else, but those are my main top 3. And I'm just thankful again for the opportunity to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited to get in this conversation with you. So let's start off. Can you talk about your little girl? So I know you have one little girl. So let's talk about the journey to becoming a mother. Like, were you always just destined to be a mother? Was that something that you always just knew that you wanted to do? Or was it something that just kind of creeped in on you and you accepted it from there?
Um, I'm gonna just start out first. I may take y'all to church because I'm a child of God. But I knew I was gonna be a mom. I had an old dad. My dad, he transitioned last year at the age of 93. So I came out the womb being an auntie, a great auntie. I already had that wisdom there, and my sister, she had three, well, actually four boys. So they my nephews, but really they my sons. I take care of them. That auntie really hits. So I just honestly knew that God was gonna bless me with a daughter because honestly, I was around my nephews. I'm like, God, if I have my first kid, I will love my child, but I want a girl. So
Mm-hmm.
honestly, just to be very transparent, we all know how children get here. Um, I knew, I knew that something was cooking. I knew that day. So I'm here transparent with y'all. There's something I knew. Like, I don't know. The Holy Spirit was already talking to me. And I really, once I found out, I really started changing. That was really the beginning stages also of my spiritual journey, growing back, getting back with Christ. So I knew I was gonna become a mom. I didn't know the pathway that I was gonna choose, having a midwife, having a doula, but once COVID came, I just knew my first time was not gonna be in that current predicament in the hospital, having a face mask on, not having nobody in the room. Some women were just delivering with just them, the nurse, and their OB. I didn't want that for me, especially as a first time mom. I wanted to be a beautiful experience because, again, moms, this is a life or death situation, just to be transparent. Anything can happen. But overall, I knew I was gonna have a girl, but I didn't know me having my daughter would make such a powerful impact and a shift in my life that it did. And I'm so grateful for her and for it.
Hmm. So you said that you knew because of COVID that you wanted to have a midwife and a doula. So that is kind of a taboo topic. A lot of women don't know the scope of midwifery and also the scope of doulas. So at what point were you introduced to the differences between like a midwife and an OB and then also doulas?
Yes. So again, just being transparent. During COVID, a little bit of pre-COVID, I was going through my new age spirituality. Y'all can Google it if y'all want to. Not telling y'all to dabble up in it because I've been delivered, but I was going through there. So I seen many of those women who were really walking that path. Um, having home births. And then once I really just started, side note, just really started getting into my health and wellness, learning how to really not take pharmaceutical drugs, try to just nurture myself with herbal remedies. It was like the floodgates start coming in as far as doula, midwife. But again, pre-COVID, if it felt like the old days, it was really like what you said, taboo. What you all see now is the surge. Pre-COVID, and it's crazy to even think like that. That it was literally less than 5 years. It wasn't it's talked about. So even when I decided, and I will say me and my daughter's dad, we were both in agreement. I came to him about it, and he was on board for it because he understood what it meant as far as having a home birth, having a midwife, having a doula, and the safety and the comfort of having that option compared to going to the hospital. So again, with my research, I was boots on the ground again. Once I became with child, I was like, okay, I gotta find a doula. That's another thing, utilizing your resources. I start calling locally in Jackson. I went through a few different agencies again. Some of them weren't my cup of tea. I politely declined. I politely didn't go back, but then I finally found one agency. She led me to my doula. Again, I had to fight tooth and nail to get my midwife because again, down here in Mississippi, they are limited. That's another thing we may talk about as far as working on and getting more with midwives. But I was literally like the needle in the haystack. I slid in there. I wasn't taking no for an answer because I knew I wanted her. So again, just going back to the question, I knew as far as the information I have been receiving and seeing, and then again, also that first time birthing experience that I wanted to have.
You said that you had gotten into, herbal remedies and focusing more on your health. So talk a little bit about your pregnancy and especially how those two kind of coincided with each other.
Oh, my pregnancy was lovely. Like my blues is the postpartum, but the pregnancy, I because again, I was living well. I had a healthy lifestyle. I was going to my stretching classes. I was eating right. I was still walking. Also still pregnant. You all can check my boutique pages out. I was still dropping clothes. Like my birthday was in November of 2021. I was what, 7 months, 8 months pregnant, big old butterball. Still promoting clothes, feet swole, still promoting clothes. So I was still active and I felt that was beneficial for me because I'm not gonna call it a snap back, but my transition back to being just a regular woman without carrying a baby, it was pretty easy. I didn't have any complications because I was actually cooking my own meals. I was making sure I was eating right. Again, ladies, I'm gonna be transparent. Just because you're pregnant does not mean you're supposed to eat all this junk food. It doesn't give you an open way. I'm a pig out and eat a whole bag of Snickers, eat a whole bag of chips. No, it's not like that. Indulge in healthy food because again, you're growing a baby. You don't want to grow the baby on junk food. So I knew
Mhm.
that. So again, my folks from down here, many of y'all know Godfrey's. Godfrey's used to be right down the street. I used to always give me a veggie plate. I was just eating good food. So again, I had a great pregnancy. And then also, again, I was really slowly gaining back my relationship with Christ. I was singing more. I was really getting in that feminine energy. I was really beginning to rest and just journal. So again, everything was a breeze.
Hmm. Okay, so you talked about having a midwife and how hard it was finding one, especially being in Mississippi. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about your appointments with the midwife? Because usually with OB, you go into your appointment. There's not much education, not much time spent with the provider. So talk about how your appointments with the midwife differed from what the obstetric practice looks like.
Funny enough, I vlog my entire pregnancy. So I've been sitting on my videos and I'm gonna drop it. Like I'm gonna drop it 2026. But
Look, you done put it on here now, so you got
I
to
know
do it.
I am because it's needed because it answered the question. I was going off in my vlogs because what I did, even though I hired a midwife, of course, when you become pregnant, and again, I was still a full-time entrepreneur and so I was able to get Medicaid. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna dot my I's and cross my T's. Even though I'm paying out of pocket for the midwife, I'm still gonna quote unquote go to a regular OB just to have that option. So my OB, I'm gonna just be transparent. My OB didn't know nothing about my midwife, and my midwife knew about my OB. So, but we was playing the long game. You gotta utilize your resources. Because again, if I would have told my OB I had a midwife, she would have stopped going to me. And that wouldn't have been great because my midwife was all the way in Tupelo. Yes, I had to drive from central Mississippi to Tupelo, which was a 3-hour drive on the Natchez Trace. And if you all know the Natchez Trace, it's no really going around a slow driver all the time. So there were many times I had to drive like 30, 40 miles an hour for 160 miles to get to my wife, but that's the cost that I had to do, and I'm grateful for how I do it again to get the service I want as far as my birth. But I can tell you, going to the OB felt like I was robotic. It was like I was in a factory line.
Mm.
All of us butterballs. I will just be transparent. It's 8, 12 of us sitting in the lobby. Again, this is during COVID. My daughter's dad couldn't even go with me, so I used to have to FaceTime him while we was doing the sonogram. I hated it. Also I had a OB who was really pushing for the bid. I'm just keep it like that. I wasn't for the bid. I wouldn't dare, even if I was, I wouldn't dare take it while I was carrying a baby. I
Right.
don't know what could have, would have, should have happened if I would have got that shot. I've heard so many cases where the pregnant woman got it and she suffered a miscarriage. She got complications. I didn't have it. And I can tell every time I went to that doctor's office, she kept trying to push it until the very end. She just knew like I wasn't going. But that's what I had to deal with going to the OB. So every time I went and I left, I used to call my daughter's dad just going off. I used to hold my phone just going off because I was able to really see the black and white when it comes to the hospital, however you want to call it, world, whereas we doing the natural way. It felt like I was going to like my godmom when I was going to my midwife. It was chilling. It was a nice, comfortable environment. With my daughter's dad, when he was able to come, heck, he talked to her more, I mean, talked to him more than me because she wanted him to be comfortable of what's to come as far as the labor and delivery. And I love that because she was empowering him as well. And it was good to see him come out his shell as well. Because also, ladies, we have to remember this also is not 100% about us. The dad has to be involved too, because anything could happen to us. And with him really being that only person that truly know you there, he has to step up and rise to the occasion and make decisions that I can't say because also, even though we were not married, he would have the last say because my parents are not even close to me. They were 7 hours away. So he had to understand the jargon, the language of what to come. But again, just dealing with the midwifery, the doula route compared to the OB, it was light and darkness. Like my OB did not want to get to know me. Like we had so many conversations, me and my doula, like we were just it was more than just me being a client. Again, yes, I we know how life go, but I felt like a person. I felt like a sister. I felt like a woman to woman having conversations with my midwife and my doula. I didn't feel like that with the OB. I wanted to get up out of there. So, all in all, that's how I can put the difference of going to the OB. And again, this is my story. Everybody's story is different. Some people may have a attentive. I do know attentive OBs that are in the work field that are doing the part, but it's not the same for everybody.
That's right. You're absolutely right about that. It's so important to have a provider that not only listens to you, but also somebody that you feel comfortable with because at the end of the day, they're going to be right there with you through the whole process. So let's get into your actual labor. So you're a first time mom, you've never been in labor before. How did you know things were like kind of ramping up? What signs did you have that your body was starting to go into labor?
Okay, so let's tell the story. So again, this is January 2022. So we in the smack dab of peak winter. Okay, peak winter. So it was that Friday. I had my stretch class, and it was a good class. But after that stretch class, I will tell y'all something. If y'all trying to really get that baby to go, do a nice good stretch, do the spinning. I forgot what it's called, the spinning
Seeing the
baby.
babies.
Do it. And again, I thought my daughter was supposed to be born like February the 2nd, February the 5th. I thought I was gonna have the 2222, or she was gonna come on my daddy's birthday. It didn't happen. But in hindsight, I let y'all know it was good she came on the date. She did. So on the 29th, I went to stretch class, and my daughter's dad, he was on the road, and later that afternoon I was telling some don't feel right. Some just don't feel right. And I alerted my doula and my midwife. I was like, oh, it's okay. It's probably just Braxton hits and stuff like that. I'm like, okay. So Saturday we went to the outlet mall. Of course, we went to Carter's. Everybody know the outlet mall, Carter's. I was looking, I start feeling the pain in my stomach. I'm like, okay, these Braxton his thing, okay, but it wasn't close. So we decided on this good old Saturday to drive to his people, and they in the Delta. So the Delta is roughly like an hour 30, hour 40 minutes away. So we there chilling. All of a sudden, them contractions start knocking. I'm like, oh no, we gotta go ahead. We gotta go ahead and dip. So I start really telling my daughter, I'm like, okay, I think it's time. I think it's time. So we literally on trying to cut the back ways and finally get on 55. Once we got on 55, I guess my daughter knew we almost there. We almost home. Them contractions start going. I'm holding the thing, holding. My doula is aware, my midwife is aware. Again, remember, y'all, my midwife is all the way in Tupelo, so that's 3 hours away. So she's getting prepared, but she's still trying to monitor it because, again, as you know, with labor, things can slow down, anything may happen. So she's just trying to make sure. So it's like the moment I got back to this apartment, it began. Like I started having front contractions, back contractions, again, being the beautifulness of having a home birth. I was able to go in the shower. I took a warm shower, got on the bed, was tossing and turning on the bed. Finally, my water broke, the stuff started coming out, then the contractions. Now my midwife is hitting 90 in her truck, coming down 55 to get to me. My doula, she's preparing, currently it's just me and my daughter's dad. He's being amazing. I'm shocked. Like he's so calm and collective, but it's helping me because I'm not as stressed, so it's just us. So literally I'm laboring here, here in my room, in the room right next to us. And my doula finally made it probably like not even 10 minutes or 15 minutes before my daughter got there. She called my midwife. So my midwife, she was still on the phone. And so she was just coaching me. And so I'm contracting, I'm feeling the ring of fire. I'm on all fours. And so she just told me to breathe. So I did a big exhale, and my daughter just and her dad had to hurry up and catch her. That was just a beautiful moment, and that's how I had her. And literally 10 minutes later, my midwife came in with her helpmate, her assistant, and the rest was history. I had to push out the placenta, and I will say pushing out the placenta was more contractions harder than me pushing out my daughter, crazy enough. And I had some tearing, and my midwife stitched me up, and they were all amazed how I was looking because I was just, I don't know. They said I had a glow. It didn't even look like I just had a baby. And again, with me being at home, we could delay the cord. So I was able to delay the cord, instantly started putting her skin to skin, start feeding her, breastfed. Um, her dad took off his shirt, started doing skin to skin. So it was such a beautiful moment, like a beautiful way. Again, I thought I was gonna have the water birth with the tub. It didn't happen like that. But in hindsight, I'm glad she did come when she did, because that following week we had that severe ice storm. So if she didn't come that week she did, my midwife wouldn't have made it. I don't even think my doula would have made it, because even my whole entire apartment, it was nothing but ice. We couldn't even move the cars. I ran out of prenatals. I was literally drained. I felt awful because my packages couldn't get to me because of the ice storm. So I knew he was doing what he was doing when she was born, the day she was, but leading up to it, again, it's certain signs, but in hindsight, I'm glad, and I absolutely love the labor and delivery that I did have. And also, after I had her, all my family and friends who were question mark about my delivery home, but I'm like, oh, I want to have it too. And, oh my gosh, I'm so happy you had it. Oh my gosh, you did that. You don't have to do it. Like, like now they on board. Now they rooting me. Boy, they like, girl, you sure you want to do that? How much you been? But you just gotta let folks talk. But I'm glad to say I chose my birthday story. I had a little changes, but overall, God allowed me to truly have the home birth that He felt that I should have.
It seems like such an empowering story. To be able to birth your baby not only at home, but you didn't have anyone there. I know we see a lot of women now choosing. So you see a lot of women that are going away from conventional like obstetric practices and are choosing to birth at home. Then you have a sector of people that are now trying to do more unassisted births. So would you attempt the unassisted birth or no?
I would still maybe if guys say call me to have a baby like at 40 or 50, by then I'll probably be boots on the ground. I'll probably be a midwife myself by then. So I may do it, just be like, I'm I'm that type of woman, y'all. I'm a go getter, but I would still have a doula. Heck, I may have Candace be my doula, or she may end up being a midwife by then. One of my close doula sisters probably would be, someone that would be there. But I would, of course, have a home birth and really create the opportunity. I would hope, if God says have another child the second time around, the second time you're a little bit more prepared. So I would have been more prepared. I would have been had my tub, the bath, on standby like 2 weeks before, 3 weeks before, because again, you never know. But little things like that. But I would most definitely do it again.
Mm, I love that. I love it. So let's talk about after you have had your baby. Usually if you're in a hospital setting, you have your baby and then you have nurses and then maybe your doctor will come back and check in on you. If somebody with you around the clock. So you've had a home birth and it's just you, your daughter's dad, and your daughter. So what were those first moments? Well, I don't want to say first moments, but the first days after having her, what were those days like with it just being the three of y'all there? You're not having really the hospital staff checking on you. Just talk about like how those days felt, your mind state during that time. Yeah.
Yeah, actually my doula, she was still checking in. Miss Tony, she came by again. My doula came by. My daughter's dad, he was off the road. So I want to say he took like up to 2 weeks off, here or there. So that was very helpful. Again, we were in the snowstorm, so it was ice. Luckily I did meal prep. So I had like, again, side note, when you breastfeed, that's when the hungry hippos start happening. So I was just eating up everything. So, and then also my daughter, she was a breastfed baby. So the cluster feeding is very different than a formula fed baby. They're constantly wanting, they're trying to build up my supply. They're trying to get their suction right as far as the pace of the flow of the milk. So it was just a lot of adjustment, and I'm even though I'm 32 now, shit, I was in my late 20s. I'm new at this. I felt like a baby. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a baby. So it was still like a epiphany. It was still shocking for me. Like, I did this. Like, this is a human. Like, we created this baby is here. So it was still coming to terms with that. But still, I just had to keep taking it like day by day. Not overdo it. Again, those first bathroom, restroom moments, I'm gonna keep it cute as possible. Having to deal with that. Again, your body is adjusting back, so that feeling of emptiness in your stomach, because again, you just had this big old human sitting right in front of you for almost a year, and now it's gone. So it's like you adjusting to everything. So it was a lot of adjustment, but I will say, those early stages, I did try to give myself as much grace as I could, because I was doing a lot. Again, I was breastfeeding my baby. I was just trying to take it chill as possible on Netflix. I watched the full series of Girlfriends, and it was so funny. I was just breastfeeding my baby, watching the full series of Girlfriends. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I used to like Tony. She was just awful, just rewatching a series as a grown up. So it was just me really just, again, try to attend to myself, attend to my baby, but just also just get adjusted to this new life that I just jumped into.
You talked about having some postpartum challenges. Let's get into some of the challenges that you experienced postpartum.
Yes. Number one, again, starting at the beginning, I was a lady with a lot of hats. I had to sit my hats down. Like, I thought I had my daughter in the end of January. I thought by March I would do a spring drop. Absolutely not. I felt, I'm gonna be transparent. I felt ugly. I gained so much weight. They said you were supposed to lose weight breastfeeding. I did not. I blew up. And I also feel like I was comfort eating as well, because it was a lot of changes, dynamics going on as far as like me and my daughter's dad, our relationship ending, different types of trauma that I was enduring. I can be transparent. I thank God for my aunt coming down, because I am the strong person. So my parents, they were older up in age, so they couldn't come down here from up north to Mississippi like that. And I didn't want to put that pressure on them, make them severely worry about me. But my mom, she kept on talking to me, and she just knew something wasn't right. So my aunt, she came down in March and stayed with me a whole month, and she was seeing the stuff that I had to endure. And I'm gonna be transparent, ladies. Yes, you may have your maid, and this is for those who may not be married, but make sure you got you together, because you can't depend on that other person if they switch up. And me being that go getter, I couldn't hit it like how I normally could, because I'm literally nurturing this girl. Like, I'm breastfeeding her. I couldn't maneuver and operate. So it was like I was mourning my old life, and then I'm still mourning, I'm grieving this new life, because the things I thought would happen as far as this postpartum, it's not going the way that it would. I thought it would. So I really got into a dark place. And even when I talked to like my older sisters, again, I was the baby girl, and they was like, just take it day by day. And when you hear that, when you in your trial, you don't want to hear take it day by. Give me something else. But looking in hindsight, I literally had to take it day by day by day, month by month. So, I will say that first year and a half, I did not know myself. Like, I was just going through the emotions. It really, the first 6 months, even my aunt was like, do something to your hair. It was some days I went out with my hair looking like Kunta Kinte. I didn't care. My hair straight right now. It was natural. I did not care. And that's not like me. So I knew um it was something was not right. I knew what it was, but I needed support. So I found the group, it a group of ladies, and I really started pouring into there. We had like different mom talks, conversations, meetups, and that in that season, that is what I really needed because I needed to hear other women share their story. Like I'm not going through this alone. And that's another thing. I wish people really told me the real about postpartum because again, I even said in my other conversations, they prepare us for the labor and delivery and the child education classes, but the postpartum is like they breeze through it. And that's what I needed the most because in postpartum, anything could happen. Like I was stupid. I quit my job literally a month before I had my baby. I could have went on medical leave. I wasn't thinking right. I didn't have the knowledge or resources. I was young thinking, okay, I'm gonna just get a job, get right back, or I'm gonna depend on so and so. No, when things don't go the way that you want, it's like really. But in hindsight, I know God allowed me to go through that so I can be here today to share my testimony. So I can tell someone like, hey, if you're deciding to work while you are pregnant right now, make sure you have a stash, have things set up, for you so you can pamper yourself to even pay your bills. Just be realistic. If things switch up with you and your mate, I pray to God it doesn't. But if it do, at least you have options in play where you and your child will be okay. Because again, I forgot what the quote, you should never let somebody cut the water off or cut the hand that feeds you. I forgot the analogy, but don't never put someone in that control to cut. Once they do everything, it severely change your life. You should never be put in that position. So again, that was a trying time, but that was a time when I was really crying out, calling out to God. So I felt like he pulled me, took me through there so I can really come to him because it was nice. I cried, like nice. I didn't even know like how am I going to get through this? It I can go so into detail, but it was a trying time for me. But it's a baby. Once you I seen it on TikTok. Somebody was like, as a woman, it's like that light switch. Like it's like you come back like, the heck? Why am I crying over this? Why am I looking like this? I'm like, oh no. I started changing. I started back getting my hair done. I started back just pouring into me, like finding stuff for this new body because again, I didn't start working out yet. So I started loving this fluffier me, and I had to start loving myself again. I had to start looking like, girl, even though you heavy, at least you finally got you some top parts, you think of girl, just hyping myself up. So no one is gonna love you like how you love you. So I had to really start pouring into me. And again, what really started hitting it once I really started working out, started getting back into my old routine. Once I started seeing the weight started shedding, I started to fit in old clothes, new clothes. I'm like, yeah, I think they call it the myth. The myth is here, you know. I'm here now. So it was like the rest was history, and people was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't recognize you." And even when I look at my old pictures, sometimes I used to cry. Even like right now, I know I'm healed because before when I used to tell this story, I start getting emotional because when you are in that dark place, again, it feels like, when am I gonna get out? You know, so many questions because I'm a woman with a lot of accolades. Like, how did I end up in this? You know, and also I had to take accountability for myself and how I ended up in here. You know, it takes two to tango. It shouldn't have been tangoing like this, you know. So I had to take ownership of how my life was at. But again, it's an at moment. It doesn't mean it's final. So it's up to me to recreate the book. So I'm so glad I'm in a whole nother book, a whole nother genre. You know, I'm loving this me of just me and my daughter. I'm in a season of just me and my daughter, me really loving this postpartum stage. I know I feel like postpartum is a ever in the process, especially dealing on how deep the trauma goes. I'm on the lighter end. I'm now able to pour into women and see sometimes when you go through the trauma, you can possibly see pinpoint like, I remember that. I remember I used to be like that. So just pouring into other women, just sharing my story. I'm in that season now, and when I say it feels so good. So, I know we had an end recap, but just saying it now, ladies, you gonna get that rainbow. You may not see it. It may be cloudy, it may be lightning now, but you will get it. But again, it's up to you. You have to muster up the courage. It was a hard courage to muster up to realize like this environment, this relationship is not healthy for me or my child or my well-being. I need to leave. I don't know what's that going to look like. I don't know, but I know this is not okay. And for the sake of family, I think we have to prioritize other things as far as our health, our mental health, our emotional health, our physical health before we say the sake of family. Because again, we don't want to pass the generational trauma. But once I seen certain dynamics starting to set up, I'm like, no, it's time to really change this postpartum phase of my life and make it a phase and maneuver to something new and greater of what God has called me to do and be.
You talked about, getting back to yourself. I see like on TikTok and Instagram, they call it like finding your pink again. So what advice do you have for the moms that are trying to get back to that point that may not have any support? Where can they find support? I know you reached out to a group and you found community that way. For women that have no support at all and they're trying to get back to that point, what advice do you have for them?
I just wanted to say your pink is not gone, it's just faded. You know, it's just a faded pink. It's not gone. Again, I remember when I was going through the postpartum, I love the color black. My birthday, normally I'm so pretty girl, cute, nails done. That one birthday of the end of 2022, I had on a all black sweatshirt, hoodie, a black bucket hat from Bass Pro Shop. Y'all know the trend with the Bass Pro Shop, a black hat. I had black leggings with my black purse, and I really wasn't smiling. I was just, and I could just see like me covering black. Yes, people might say black is their favorite color. Me, that's not me. I'm a loud, bold. I love color, print, and design. I just wanted to be nothing but black. I wanted to be nothing but covered up because the trauma and the hardship I went through, I just want to be covered because nobody wasn't covering me, as crazy as it sounds. But I just knew I just knew me. I just knew I didn't want to end like this. I didn't want to be this. I could be transparent. I just knew what I just recently accomplished in my business, graduating with my master degree, just doing so much for myself at an early age. And then also again, I had people looking up to me. I had my nephews. I was a great example. Nonetheless, even though I was going, everybody has their hard times, but I just knew me and the life and the plans that I believe God had for me, that this was not my ending. And I was also not going to allow a person to make my life change because of what they did to me. Because at the end of the day, this is my life. And I just couldn't let that happen. So I always knew I was going to get out. But again, you have to search for the resources. I had to search, just like how I searched for the doula, the midwife. I search for the groups. Me, I'm a social butterfly. I love that about me. I can walk up and talk to a stranger. I'm the type of person, if I see a girl with a cute outfit, I'm like, girl, your outfit cute. I'm the type of person. So if I want something, I'm gonna ask for it. I don't think no. I keep asking until I get a yes. So that's how I am. So I always wanted to find the resources. But again, just going back to God, your first step is God, because when any and everybody will fail on you, everybody is not perfect, but God is. He is your creator, your author, your all. So I was dependent on him because I didn't know how I was gonna get through, especially with a kid. Like I really feel in today's society, people are downplaying motherhood, having a kid. Even in this month of December, I've been praising myself like, girl, you make 12 months paying your bills, feeding this girl, going extracurricular activities, taking care of me. Bills are met. I'm mentally in my right mind with all the transition of people I lost. Celebrate, but we don't even see that. People be crying out and things like that on social media. I've seen mothers cry out, and you know what I do? I hop in their inbox. I try to speak life into them. So if you are someone right now who may be feeling like your pink is faded and it's not gonna get back, I'm claiming it over you now. You finna get it back, but you have to work for it. I worked for it. Every time when I was working out, I was I I, I was releasing so much trauma, me working out. So you need to find your outlet. Your outlet may be painting, your outlet may be writing, your outlet may be dancing. Also I start remembering my childhood. Sometimes our trauma also stems from our childhood, things we couldn't complete. I used to love to dance. I was dancing more around the house. I was just being more girly. And honestly, when you let the dead weight go, you just soar. So once you really analyze your life again and see what you should have in there, and that goes for your friends, your family, your job, your habits, and remove it, all the pink is gonna start coming back. It was more pink overflow that I didn't even imagine. And now I'm like, I love it, and now just ending it, I barely got a lick of black in my tie. Y'all may see this little patch, but it's a patch of this shirt. Like I barely have black now. And that just shows me the healing that I was able to do. And also just one last thing, it's not a quick fix. I had my daughter in 2022. I went through my trial for roughly a year and a half. I would say once I hit 30, that's when, okay, I'm feeling it. But again, come last year, I lost my dad. So that was like another hit. So it's not a one fix. You're going to go through your ups and downs, because we're going to go through our ups and downs in motherhood. Even though I'm loving my little 3 finna be 4-year-old girl, I know when she turned 13, 14, we finna be in the trenches, because it's gonna be a whole lot of hormones, a whole lot of I want to do. So again, it's an ever going process, but love the process. I'm finally loving each day. Even if it's a bad day or a good day, I try to find light in it all.
You have dropped a plethora of gems, just so much wisdom. You said when you were born, you were wise, and you, baby, you are so you are the embodiment of walking wisdom. You really are. And you know, I've told you that as well. You always have such good gems to drop. I've thoroughly enjoyed this interview with you. Can you tell the listeners where they can connect with you further? Can you tell them where they can shop with you for your boutique? Reach out to you about educational services with your doula business as well.
Yes, so again, my boutique is the Dream House Collection. You can search that on Facebook. On Instagram is SHOPDHCO, and you can go on the website at the shop dhco.com. As far as my doula business is called My Light Paternal Care and Wellness. And I named it that because my daughter's name is Ori and it means my light. So she was my light that really changed my life. So it's called My Light Paternal Care and Wellness, but you can just search My Light PCW on Facebook and also on Instagram. And you'll be able to see, and also on YouTube as well. I'm on YouTube as well. So you'll be able to see my Doula Talk Tuesdays resources. I am going to start accepting clients March of 2026. So again, as far as education, you can shoot me a text, shoot me a message. I always tell people, even when I do the pop-up shops I've been doing this year, I don't care if it's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, because I wish I had that. So in my field, I try to be the doula, the birth worker I wish I would have had. Not saying I didn't have it, but I had to, when it came to breastfeeding, I had to use my WIC resources at 3, 4 o'clock to telehealth to help me breastfeed. I don't know what would have happened if they weren't there. So I would like to be that for um a special mother. And my slogan is I want to be the Harriet Tubman when it comes to my work. So try to cross over, bring the mothers over to that other side because it can be so hard because I feel like my trauma is just a little with the trauma I've heard other women go through and are still going through. So if someone can see my light and know that, hey, if she looking good now, I can do it too. I want to be able to pour into that. So again, my doula business is My Life Paternal Care and Wellness, is My Life PCW on Facebook, on Instagram, and YouTube. YouTube, Spotify will be released also. I have them all locked and loaded. And the new season will start in January. So stay tuned for amazing birth workers. We got a lot in store. I feel 2026, not only for me, but for my girl Candace. I'm speaking for her as well. It's
Thank
going to be an impactful year for even all the birth workers. Many people who may be in Mississippi, changes are happening. I feel like the lawmakers are seeing the impact that doula, this birth work, is being made, and it's time for us to rise to the occasion and take charge. So, yeah.
Girl, I have absolutely enjoyed this interview with you. I appreciate you for stopping by and talking to the listeners and sharing your story. This is the first time everything has completely culminated where I've heard the beginning to the end of the story. So thank you so much for sharing it. So if you enjoyed Leah's story, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And this is Candace reminding you that your voice and your story matter more than you know. Until next time, be well, mama.